Hello, the internet. Welcome back to another stream. It's currently just one man blue man at the moment, as Rixart had to pop out to do a personal thing real quick. And yeah, welcome back to our little corner of the internet. Hope everyone's doing alright. It should be a decent stream today. Today, as me and Rixart continue where we last left off and discuss something that's near and dear to our hearts, and that is the animated universe of Star Wars. So sit back, relax, enjoy this production, and random discussion of Star Wars. I'm happy that we're able to do a stream today. For those that don't know, with my current day job, I'm on a completely different schedules while I work and while I'm off that job. Benefit of night work, I presume. And yeah, got some quick updates for everyone. The series Bible videos coming along quite nicely. We are probably about 50% done with the new updates from the feedback I got from Rixart. We are hoping that we can at least get the full layout and everything ready by the end of this week, or at least I am hoping. And yeah, we should be in a generally good place. I'm hoping to have it out real soon. I'm pretty much finishing up the character section of the series Bible. I'm on the antagonist bit at the moment, and I know that there'll be some new renders of the characters I want to do. Being the main thing that I do generally want to have done with said work. It's coming along quite nicely. So all that's left to do at the moment is finishing off the characters, the setting, inspiration, and look development. What I think will be all nice and fun once we've actually got it all finished. But yeah, we are in a good position in terms of production, being close to the end of Act 1. What I know I keep saying, but as this project has been going on for so long, it's generally nice to have. And yeah, I'm hoping you guys like the finished series Bible. I think it's pretty okay. But it would be nice to see other people's reactions to the ideas we have for the series. Because I'm genuinely curious on getting some feedback from it. Being quite a lot longer than I thought it would be to make the series Bible. The feedback from Rixart was very informative. And yeah. Boom. Okay. Got 2 more shots left of this scene, and then we will be on to scene 6. yeah, it's been all going quite well over here. I know Rixart has done some great stuff. I know moving forward, we're going to hopefully get some better thumbnails for these streams. Don't know how long today's one will be. Today being off day before I go back to work. It's generally one of those things. Me having to balance so much is a little bit of a pain, but that's life for you at this point of time. Yeah. Yeah, it won't be scene 6 we'll move on. We'll be moving on to the montage next. I do correct myself. But the way things are going, we should be in a good position come October. And yeah, we're now on shot 11 for scene 4 for those keeping track. And it's pretty much a very simple one. For one, it benefits of the early scenes is with the layout and lockout, it's literally making sure characters on the canvas do some of the basic poses are at least put in, so we at least know how it's going to visually look. And yeah, moving from there. Checking my time in there. But yeah, when Rixart comes back and rejoins me, we were literally all prepped, set, discussing what we're going to talk about as we work. Essentially, yeah, we thought, you know what, let's talk about something that has at least been some inspiration for us, and that is the animated universe of Star Wars. So we'll be going over the original Clone Wars from 2003, the 2D animated one, the GOAT in some aspects. The 3D Clone... And yeah, I've just got word Rixart is back, so he'll be joining us now. Hey Rixart, welcome back.
Oh, hey guys. Sorry I'm a bit late. So what have you been talking about?
Just updating on the series Bible and going through what we'll be quickly talking about while we work today. And yeah, we are gonna start with the GOAT, the 2003 Star Wars Clone Wars. Essentially, that was my first introduction to Star Wars as an animated property, and it is the GOAT.
It is. It really is.
I had both volumes. As a child, I loved Volume 1. But as an adult, like many things, I end up loving Volume 2. Grievous in that animated series is...
Yeah, we'll get to him.
It's a beast. And yeah.
But yeah, okay, I guess those not in the know, to promote Star Wars after Episode 2 and to, set up Episode 3, Lucasfilms contracted Genndy Tartakovsky, creator of Samurai Jack. He did Dexter, right? Like Dexter's Laboratory.
Yes, I am pretty sure. Let me.
But oh yeah, he did like a bunch of shows since then and now. So, you know, he's like, I think he got like free reign to do it, to do whatever he wanted. Because he was like a really good guy to do action scenes. Even in Hotel Transylvania, for those who don't know, he also was behind all of that, just how the characters move, their character designs, stuff like that. He also did that, so him doing the 2003 Clone Wars micro series was like a perfect match, because if you see it, it's mostly action scenes, and he excels at it. Like, seriously, I think I may have watched like one or two of the shorts, like long after 2005, but I think they aired it on Cartoon Network or something, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like years later, I watched these like years down the line, the whole thing, and it still holds up.
Yep. Well, yeah, as Rick said, from the creator, he's the creator of Dexter's Laboratory, another go-to series, the Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, as we all know, and then the thing that probably was an early impression on me, Star Wars Clone Wars. And unlike Rixart, because I'm a little bit older, I didn't watch them live on television. I had the DVDs. That's how old I am. And yeah, I genuinely fell in love with them. Like I mentioned before, Volume 1, so the first lot. So this would be, but it would end with General Grievous introduction.
Yeah.
Loved it. I always did prefer the Episode 2 Clones helmets. It's only been in recent times that I prefer Phase 2 of the Clones helmets. And yeah, it is generally a great animated series to watch. It condenses a lot of Anakin's journey between Episode 2 and 3 at the time, and in part is canon.
Alright, so before we like talk about the 3D Clone Wars series that came out a few years after, for a very short time, this was like the definitive Clone Wars.
Yes.
And because it was a micro series, it wasn't like they couldn't really delve into a lot of this stuff, but for a time, that was how they set up Anakin's journey to become Darth Vader, how they got into the nitty-gritty of the Clone Wars, the Republic falling, Palpatine rising to power, and, you know, just setting up everything you were gonna see in Revenge of the Sith. That was the purpose of the show.
Yes, and in general retrospect, it gave us the introduction of Asajj Ventress. It gave us the introduction of Grievous.
Dirge.
It also, Dirge, what still to this day I'm annoyed hasn't made an introduction into the 3D animated universe.
Well, canonically, he did die.
No.
In the 2003.
If you're, we're going off Legends lore at the moment here, so
let's not drag that into. But yeah, with the if you take the 3D Clone Wars into account, it's always been kind of wishy-washy about whether the 03 series is canon or not.
It is and it isn't. So
I like to think it's canon, but stuff like the attack on the Republic that sets up the beginning of Episode 3.
Oh, that's canon. That 100% is canon. That, like, the amount of time that's actually referenced in other materials, that is canon.
Alright, so Grievous attacking the Capitol, kidnapping Palpatine,
yeah.
Anakin and Obi-Wan, like, being on that planet, which I really want to get into in a bit.
Oh yeah, you're talking... They are bits that are retconned because of 3D Clone Wars. So where Anakin and Obi-Wan was when they got the news that Palpatine
was
kidnapped, aka Season 7 of the 3D Clone Wars. Yep. But overall, the first volume is pretty much near 100% still fits in canon. because it would be.
Because it was like early days of Clone Wars.
Yeah, this was Padawan Anakin. This wasn't Knight Anakin.
Yeah, so you know, personally, I always thought the 2003 series could just fit into canon.
I was the same. It's one of those because we will go through this. It essentially covers the two phases of the war. The early war is Volume 1, so this would be Anakin's first couple of battles, or first big battle.
Yeah, this is like him kind of stepping out from Padawan to Jedi Knight.
Yeah, he gets knighted at the beginning of Volume 2.
Okay, so what I really like about this is that because of the Clone Wars, Anakin was promoted like way before I think he was emotionally ready.
Yes.
Because you can be a Padawan for like a really long time. I mean, in Phantom Menace, Obi-Wan was like what 25 before he became a Jedi Knight.
Yes. It's this whole in the context, like this is something that with both Clone Wars, Anakin is extremely young when he becomes a knight, and it's kind of why it's an insult to him in Episode 3 why he's not given Master. Because if we're just counting the original Clone Wars.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, my brother's like rage baiting me. Yeah. Okay, so like he's saying that Anakin did earn the promotion, and I guess in another way, but because of the war, it fast-tracked. The point of the scene is that the Jedi Council, because of the war, had to change and focus on the wrong stuff. Because let's face it,
they were already focused on the Jedi always remain neutral in every conflict.
Don't know if any of you's catching that from Rixart and his brother's conversation.
Okay. Did you not see the original series? Anakin didn't do the trials. The Clone Wars were the trials, and then at the end of Volume 2, he did do the trials, and that proved that he just was not ready to be a Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
No, because the whole point, of Star Wars is to show that Anakin, despite everything, was not really a good Jedi.
No, okay, well, Jedi isn't
the younger generation's brave based on your French. You love to see it. As someone who has a younger brother, yes. They can be that insulting.
It's my older brother.
Oh, it's your older brother. Cool. He's doing a good job. He's doing a good job as older brother.
Speak into the mic and say that. I'm live streaming right now. Fine.
Who am I speaking to?
The point is that Anakin was way too young to do any of the things he was doing at the time.
Rixart, come back to the stream. But yeah,
yeah, because they were, to me, they were focusing on the wrong thing when they promoted Anakin, though.
Rixart is right. If to bring it back,
thank you.
The whole original Clone Wars was basically explained that the Anakin wasn't ready, despite his accomplishment.
I didn't say the Jedi were great or anything. I just said that he just was not ready to be in that position.
They were already focusing on the wrong things. They emotionally stunted.
I agree with you.
Exactly.
I was saying specifically to Anakin.
Was ready. It's just that the Jedi didn't cultivate an environment in which he could flourish. They actively stunted all of his emotions.
Okay. So what my brother's saying now is that.
When he was a kid, Yoda was like, "Do you miss your mom?" The one who's a slave, by the way, back on Tatooine. Not being saved by anyone.
We'll get into that.
We're getting into that.
Yeah, I miss my mom. And you're just like, fuck you. God, touch them. The emotions.
Yeah.
No.
Going back to 3D Clone Wars.
Fear leads to anger into hate.
You get to really look at what brothers are like in comparison. But yeah.
Okay, no, we're getting to Legends stuff now, but we're talking about the 2003 series, which showed that Anakin, despite all his strength, despite all his merits,
was not ready for the position he was put in.
Exactly, like setting up his fault as Darth Vader.
Yeah, because essentially,
Which is
Anakin
what
was
we were talking
dictated
about.
always by his emotions. What for normal
Sure,
people
sure. Yeah,
is
he earned it.
because again, this is now we're going into the area of the inspiration for Star Wars.
Okay, you know I'm having like two different conversations,
Went
right?
from a junior analyst to a senior analyst.
Yeah, but imagine now, because the war forced that promotion, which is
Yeah,
my point.
I'm gonna mute Rixart real quickly on the stream while
If
he
you had
plays
let me
bait with his
finish-
Same
brother.
as Winston Churchill.
Did
And he's back.
I was going to say that Anakin had a promotion, it wasn't earned, and then
It was earned.
and that
That's
Volume
my point.
2 showed just how much of a good Jedi Knight he was. Like,
Yep.
we get scenes of him saving the other generals. We get to see him be a dashing pilot. We get to see all the things that Ben Kenobi said he was in Episode 4.
Right.
Yes.
You also
The
need to
with the 3D Clone Wars and 2D, sorry, 2003. The first bit shows Anakin's daughter Padawan, him becoming in the night. This is something that I think the 2D does
Which is,
and the 3D does.
we're talking about the
generally
animated
good.
series. No, we're starting with 03, then we're
Good.
going to...
And that's generally
talking
Anakin
about
was a
movies.
wartime Jedi. He was not made for.
You know, I'm like live streaming right now with...
Oh, I'm gonna
What?
Rixart until he comes back. But yeah, Anakin in the first lot, what is known as Volume 1, he generally started as getting into his feel as being a wartime Jedi. What Anakin excelled at, and Anakin was generally a wartime Jedi. I'll bring back Rixart, seeing that I believe he's now free.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. Brothers, am I right?
Yeah.
So at what point did you cut me off?
So we're talking about Anakin not being ready and how the war kind of sped his development as a Jedi, because he's what 18, 19 when he becomes a knight.
Yeah, he's 19. And you know, it kind of reflects to talk about the movies for a bit. The point of Empire Strikes Back for Luke is that he thought he was more ready than he actually was.
Yes.
Right, like this is the guy who blew up the Death Star, has become quite a prominent figure in the rebellion.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. So when he gets to Yoda, you know, like, he's haughty, he's arrogant. Like, yeah, I can do it. I'm not afraid. Show me what you got. And Yoda was like, dude, like, what are you? You're 19. You think it's like a big fish in a bigger ocean.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, what do you know about anything? And you know, because he's young and he's accomplished so much, that gives him, you know, like an inflated sense of confidence. So when he does face Vader, he's quickly brought back down.
Yeah.
And I feel like the 03 series was kind of reflecting that with Anakin. Like, he's a really powerful Jedi. He got promoted by Palpatine to be an acting general. Then he got promoted by the Jedi Council because of, you know, his personal successes.
Yep.
But there was like something within himself that just was not ready to have that. So it brought him to a level that he thought he was better than he was. And in the context of the 03 series, when he actually does do the trial, which I'll explain later in a bit, that was kind of the trial telling him that, yeah, you continue down this path, it's not going to end well for anyone.
Yes. Because essentially, in the early Clone Wars, Anakin was having success. He was reckless, and Obi-Wan was still trying to rein in his reckless behavior. And
Yeah.
one thing that I think, especially in Volume 1 of the 2003 Clone Wars, is Anakin did care about his men. Like, he was a pilot fighting. in a space battle above a planet as Obi-Wan was leading the ground forces. And generally, it's so that Anakin cared about his men, and when the Saw Ventress came and destroyed his entire basically fighter squadron with him, Anakin lost it, followed her, fought her, gave into his anger, and quote-unquote killed her. This is where I can say it's near 100% Volume 1 is canon, because the Saw Ventress can never die, like how in current canon I believe he's still alive in post-Endor.
Hey, sorry man, I had to let my mother in.
That's no problem. And because of his success in the early days of the Clone Wars, the Council was basically torn, should Anakin be a knight or not? And this is the beginning of Volume 2 after Grievous is introduced and they're losing Jedi Knights constantly. And it's Obi-Wan who argues the Wars kind of tested Anakin a lot more than the Trials would.
Exactly.
And Anakin becomes a knight, but the war, in Volume 2 in particular, the war progresses and it just keeps hardening Anakin. It shows that he is in my personal opinion, I think the 2003 Clone Wars shows that Anakin is more of the apprentice of Obi-Wan than in the 3D one, because there's literally a bit where they're fighting on this planet and they can't get these shields down, so they cause artificial rain. And Obi-Wan's not liking it, and there's hardly any food. Anakin then comes up after Commander Cody, and he's just eating bugs. And Obi-Wan's like, "How can you eat that?" And he goes, "Master, you're the one who taught me to live off
the living force." Yeah.
And it's that moment where you basically realize, oh, this is how these two would react. How Anakin would take on board everything that Obi-Wan was teaching him at the time. And I'm going to get into what is currently my favourite bit of outside of Grievous, what I will talk about after the Anakin stuff. Anakin's trial. So Anakin never had the Jedi trial that he should have.
Definitely one of my favorite of the 03 series. And
essentially where Anakin and Obi-Wan get sent to this mission because they're getting discussions of something. The Separatists are doing something on this planet, and I believe it's the Banking Clan.
Okay. I think because Banking Clan was Volume 1, and I know the Techno Union. No, the Techno Union was a part of the Anakin vision.
Yeah, so. It was the Techno Union. Banking was Volume 1, Techno was 2, you are correct. So, they get to this planet, and they see that it's a dying world, and they meet these natives. Anakin kills this great beast, and they basically learn that all the men of this native tribe have disappeared. And upon discovering Anakin has a robotic hand, they basically go, you must go and save us first. So Anakin goes on this journey to try and fix whatever's afflicting these...
the Na'vi. Let's just call them the Na'vi.
The Na'vi. And as he's journeying to fix their problems, he goes through this cave and he has a hallucination. And it is a vision of basically one of the natives is a great warrior, he loses an arm, and his loved one gives him a new arm. And it basically grows and grows in powers where he's defeated all these things, but then it turns on him and it kills everything he loves. And it ends with native art of the Darth Vader mask and Padme screening Anakin.
It's haunting, yeah.
Very haunting. It's literally the best foreshadowing they've done of the Darth Vader.
And also and a perfect representation of the dark side in general.
Yes.
I mean, at a certain point, you think you're the master of it. You keep using it, and then eventually, it uses you.
Yeah. And it really does affect Anakin. It generally affects Anakin. And after this vision, he finds what the Separatists are doing to the males. And he frees, and they basically mutate them, put robotic guns on their arms. So Anakin basically loses his robotic arm, frees the native males. They all rip off their robotic arms after they are freed and they've won, and they go home. And the ingenious foreshadowing is, as these deformed native men come to the tribe, everyone's terrified of them, but this one little boy who goes up to one and goes, "Father." It's this little bit of foreshadowing in the 2003 one of what's going to happen to Anakin, and it's beautiful. And this is where I like to explain the retcon before going into Grievous and Mace Windu. This is where the big retcon from the 3D animated Clone Wars happens. Right after this, Obi-Wan asks Anakin what happened down there, and Anakin goes, "It's like the Sarman said. I would see my future. Essentially, basically, it would test me, and I passed." And he doesn't actually tell Obi-Wan what he saw. What, in my opinion, is always the biggest problem of Anakin. He can't
trust He can't trust Obi-Wan with like the personal stuff.
Despite
and the truth of the matter is that he did fail the test.
Yeah.
Because he did use the dark side to take care of the Techno Union. He did let his rage come forth. So that's a personal failing of Anakin.
And that's when they find out Palpatine's been kidnapped. That gets retconned. In my personal headcanon, seeing that I do consider 2003 90% canon.
Yeah.
This is where Ahsoka would then re-pop up. Ahsoka would pop up just shortly after Anakin had this trial.
Yeah.
Oh. But going on to the goat of the goat in the 2003, General Grievous. By Lord Almighty, I do not know how the 3D animated series never got Grievous as good as.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I missed it. The 3D animation never got Grievous right.
Yeah,
2003, chef's kiss.
Like, let me talk about Grievous' like proper introduction.
Yeah.
So we had just seen Anakin face off against Sarge Ventress. Great fight, one of my favorite lightsaber duels. And to go into a tangent, that's another Anakin becoming Vader moment. Because like when Sarge Ventress knocks away his lightsaber, he grabs it. You hear the Force music, uses one of her red lightsabers, and just goes beast mode on her. And tapping into the dark side and just winning the fight. As Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Qui-Gon flashes of them look down in, I guess, disappointment at Anakin. And then, after that, he comes to Munilus to, like, say to Obi-Wan, "Yeah, I triumphed." And then Obi-Wan's like, "Yeah, I find the Sith's interest in you to be a little troubling. Yeah, that's why you have to..." And then, boom, a beeping noise on his communicator. And it's Master Barak, another Jedi on another planet, and he's, like, calling him for help. Like, there's this new droid general. And he's, like, really winning the battle. There's only a few of us left. And then, he dies because of Grievous. We see his foot. And then we see the Jedi overrun with the battle droids gaining the advantage, pushing them into one location, trapping them like rats. there's about 5 Jedi there. One of them is Shaggy
Yes.
for some reason. Yeah. And then you know, it's like, don't fret, have hope, believe in the Force. And then General Grievous addresses them, like, make peace with the Force now, and I'll promise you a quick death.
Yep.
And then, you know, he had intimidation.
The sound
and
of just
like,
hearing him walk, like they're going, what is that noise?
Like, it's like the presence of death.
It,
So yeah, like, even the Jedi, composed as they are, and even though he was a Padawan, Shaggy just went crazy, like he couldn't handle it, rushes out, and then that's when we see Grievous. He just crushes him to death.
yeah, just jumps on top of him, like, boom.
Yeah.
Massive fight. And that's how Volume 1 ends, with him just... Because he's...
destroying 5 Jedi. He kills at least 3 of them.
He kills he kills all but 2. And I believe there's a total of 6 or 7 left.
Well, if we take in, like, Legends, Master Kuruk, one of the Jedi we see in the fight, canonically he doesn't die in Legends. He like hibernates or something, and then he comes back, and but you know, I don't know that much about it. But anyway, end of Volume 1, Grievous just proves, because it's something that we never seen before, like a droid using lightsaber. Anyone but a Jedi or Sith using lightsabers.
Yep, and the that's how it ends, and then it opens up because one of the things that I think the 2003 Clone Wars does a little bit better is ARC Commandos or ARC Troopers.
Huh?
We have a whole sequence in Volume 1 where they're basically doing, as Obi-Wan's leading the charge on the ground forces, they are infiltrating the city of this planet, and they're just being badasses. It's the precursor to Rex, essentially.
Okay.
And in Volume 2, it opens up with these clones all gearing up, all with these over-the-top weaponry, and them going to rescue the Jedi. And Grievous is just there like, oh, just some more people to kill, and takes a good chunk of these clones out as they're trying to save whatever Jedi is left. And then it's a montage of Grievous just winning the war for the Separatists.
Yeah. One thing the 03 series does do well is show just how effective the clones are, and how, you know, they like, if it wasn't for them, the Jedi would have lost the war.
Oh yeah, this is something I think both Clone Wars does brilliantly. The clones are damn effective.
Yeah.
And it's undeniable.
Like, the 3D series, like, builds on the relation between Jedi and the clones, but the 03 series just shows them how effective they are in action, even without the Force.
Yeah. They are great. And to continue off with General Grievous, as this montage is happening, it's like, we can't beat Grievous, go find Grievous. And then we get what, to this day, I do not know why they didn't reanimate in the 3D Clone Wars. The attack on Coruscant.
Alright, before the attack on Coruscant, I want to talk about Count Dooku in this series.
Go for it.
There's a scene of Dooku and Grievous training right before the attack on Coruscant.
Yep.
And, you know, it's like, it shows that despite how strong Grievous is, Dooku is just better.
Yep.
Yeah, and, you know, he's like teaching him and stuff like that, and then at the end he recognizes, like, a lightsaber he took, and then, like, he imparts some wisdom onto him. Remember what I taught you, General. If you are to succeed against the best of the Jedi, you must have fear and intimidation on your side. And if any one element is lacking, it's best of you to retreat. You must break them before you engage them. Only then can you have your prize and have your trophy. And what did Grievous do at the end of Volume 1? He had fear and intimidation.
Yep.
And when those things didn't work, that's when he's outclassed. Like when, at the end of Battle Coruscant, Mace Windu was able to seriously cripple him. The first time in any of these shorts.
Yes. What brings me Why did they neuter Mace Windu? Like, Mace Windu is a badass in the 2003 Clone Wars. There's a whole short where
of him just going to town on these battle droids. Like, what about my? Yeah, I don't have my lightsaber. No problem. I just keep punching them.
I will go full super speed. I got my fist. Let me. Oh, here's the speed 1 battle droids. Yeah, that's not a problem. B2 battle droids. Yeah, I'll use that. And it had a crazy super weapon. It's where you just see these clones battling droids. This big ship comes over them. They all look up. They start firing, and then boom. You know, something that I don't see a lot of people talk about in media, or at least online. The sound design in 03 Clone Wars is top notch. I mentioned it with Grievous, how before we even see him, we just hear his feet. Just him walking. This sequence with Mace Windu, this ship, it just basically, it's like a giant hammer and it hits the ground. But the sound it makes when it warms up and then hits the ground, there's nothing like it. If there's anything I'd recommend for people to watch, it's just that one, Mace Windu, because outside of knowing the lore on Mace Windu, that short alone made me a Mace Windu fan.
Yeah, I know. It's like delving into legend stuff. The Mace Windu is projected to be like the best warrior in the entire Jedi Order.
Yes.
Like, if Yoda's the master, then, you know, like, Mace Windu is like the soldier. Like, he's just that good of a lightsaber duelist. And with the return of the Sith, he has his own style, Vapid, you know, draws him on dark side. So to Sith Lords, he's natural causes. And we see that in Revenge of the Sith. He won genuinely against Sidious.
Okay. If we're going on to that, I'm going to quote George Lucas here. I believe it's on the commentary for Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
I think Palpatine actually threw that match. He sensed Anakin coming, and he knew it would be better if Mace Windu looked like he was about to kill Palpatine than Palpatine, because remember, Anakin never actually sees Palpatine fight.
Oh yeah, yeah, I never thought about that.
And for people that want a bit more explained, read the book of Revenge of the Sith, because it explains that
Matthew Stover.
it explains that Palpatine is just terrifying. He's a blur. He was the Flash before the Flash TV show in that book.
But, just to the fight scene with the Jedi versus the Senate, haha, was severely cut down because, you know, they wanted Lucas wanted Ian McDiarmid in the action scene, even though, you know, he's an old man. But if you look up like Nick Gillard, the stunt director's original like choreography, it was a lot more brutal, and it matches a lot more to what the novelization did.
Yeah.
But going back to the Mace Windu, I don't really subscribe to, you know, that headcanon. I think genuinely Windu did win the fight, and to me that's a lot more impactful because here's the precipice. They almost won. If Anakin just didn't do anything and just put his trust in the Jedi, they couldn't have done, like, it could have been over, and I feel like that adds to the tragedy. Anakin was the deciding factor, and he chose wrong.
Anakin Skywalker is, again, this is definitely the 3D Clone Wars did this better. Anakin had a lot of problems with the Jedi. Anakin, out of all of the Jedi, and this is made clear in not the 2003 one, unfortunately. It shows bits and pieces of it, like I said. It showed that he's very human. But the Jedi, but Anakin was very human. It's why in current canon and in part in Legends, the actual anger and wrath and all the negative emotions that makes up the dark side of the Force for Vader is all inwards. It's not outwards. The only outwards general hatred Vader had was to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
But the tragedy of Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship is generally if Anakin just told Obi-Wan, hey, yeah, I'm having dreams like I did with my mother before she died. It's of someone I care about.
Yeah.
Because Yoda, you can see the difference in Yoda. Yoda learnt the lesson the hard way. He learnt that trying to suppress the human's emotion, because this is what I like about Legends Jedi. They're not meant to suppress their emotions, they're meant to control their emotions.
Yeah.
And by the time of the Clone Wars, the Jedi took that as suppress your emotions.
Yeah. Something got lost in translation.
Yeah, this is why I am a big fan, but yeah. Let's go to the Battle of Coruscant, because this will end up I'm just glazing 2003 Clone Wars.
Yeah. It has everything. It has action. It has a story. It has
everything
it has everything you just want in an action show, to be honest.
Yeah, it's chef's kiss. The Battle of Coruscant, so the ground battle, you actually see the Separatists do damage. You see the Jedi caught it off guard. You see Yoda actually be Yoda. The Yoda shorts are always great.
Yep.
Great in these. I don't want to spoil those, but it's just you have the Separatist drop ships bringing out all these big vehicles to drop off droids, and Yoda's just there and he uses the Force and sends it back. And to crash into another one, it's great. But then Grievous, when it gets to Grievous, so for context, one of the Jedi he failed to kill in his introduction was Sati.
Yeah.
On the Battle of Coruscant, Sati and a couple Padawans are sent to escort Palpatine to a bunker. Yeah. Palpatine's like, no, I refuse to leave my office. And then all we hear is footsteps. The mechanic footsteps of Grievous and Sati's face of terror. And it's like, oh, okay. Comedy as well, because Grievous pops his head down, pops it back up, Palpatine doesn't see it, he breaks into the office, and then it's this massive chase scene. And it ends with basically Grievous capturing Palpatine, but it is a great sequence. And it's a shame that we never got that in 3D. All they needed to do was reanimate that scene in 3D, and it would have been great.
I know, it's like filled of like there's a lot of dogfights in it. We get to see some ARC Trooper action. We get to see Mace Windu jump out of his starfighter and pilot another one, a droid's one, and just go to town on everyone.
Yeah, Mace Windu's the goat. He's in a ship, it gets shot down, he jumps out, he lands on one of the droids, he punches, controls it via its wires, he meets up with Yoda, they figure out their actual target, it's Palpatine, and Windu goes running off.
Yep.
And this is where I still think this bit is completely canon, because I know in 3D it's the Gungans who damages Grievous to give him this cough. But yeah, it's generally great because Rixart mentioned it. Grievous tries to scare Windu. Windu's going, bitch, please. Sorry for my language. And just uses the Force to break his ribcage.
Yeah, I know. It's a great scene for Windu, and also it kind of goes into the canonicity of 03, because in the 08 version, Grievous is already coughing.
Yes.
And this happens like right before, and the O3 and Windu like damaging his chest.
Well, the 3D one, he doesn't cough until after his battle with, what's his name, the general for the Gungans.
I haven't watched those episodes.
Yeah, so this is much later on, because one problem the 3D Clone Wars had upon its release until season 3 or 4? I think it's 4.
Yeah.
Hold on one sec, people. My dog is doing something. I need to go take care of it. Continue this conversation with Rixart.
Sure. So yeah, we're getting into the 3D Clone Wars now in a bit. But you know what, before we do that, let's talk about Anakin and Padme's relationship and how the O3 series develops it. So, you know, it's like exactly like the movies, they're young and in love. But the Clone Wars, it's what's really driving them apart. It's not really like shown or anything, but you know, you get to see Anakin's fears about losing Padme being, and from everything that happened at the end of Volume 2, Anakin's vision, we get to see Padme recoil in disgust in that vision about what Anakin's turning himself into. So you know, that sets up Revenge of the Sith. It's like everything the O3 series did was to promote everything we saw in Revenge of the Sith. And despite being a one big promotional tool, it did it very well.
Yes, as kids, again, we're just going to talk about the 3D one. We might touch on Star Wars now being a dead franchise, but we're going to talk about the glory days. 03 Clone Wars, if you haven't seen it, I believe it's all on YouTube.
I don't think... I think more of Rebels is on YouTube than Clone Wars, but I'll have to check.
Yeah, if you can, check it out. It's worth it. You'll fall in love with Windu. Yoda has great moments. You feel like you've been robbed of Grievous.
Honestly, I think the villains in general, except for a couple, were all done dirty.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. But yeah, the transition from the 03 to the 08. From what I can understand, the 03 was very much canon. And
yeah.
So like the character designs in the 08 one is based off the 03 version.
Yeah.
Like, in a way. So Gendy's designs made it into 3D. That was the purpose. Most of the voice actors from the 03 versions transferred to the 08 one, except for Anakin's voice actor. Both of them were named Matthew, by the way. But yeah, Anakin got a new voice actor, Matt Lanter. I never watched 90210, but he's from that. He does a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, like like just to the 03 version kind of matched Anakin's kind of youthful whininess in a way, but you know, that was presented in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. And
then, you know, Revenge of the Sith, Anakin has grown up to be a little bit deeper. Matt Lanter clearly just did his own thing, which worked for the show. And I feel retroactively, Hayden Christensen, when he came back to do Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, he was just mimicking Matt Lanter's voice. Or his voice really did just get deeper over the years. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go.
Yeah. So, as we're now moving away from one goat to another, we enter into the 3D Clone Wars. Now, I actually went to see this movie in the cinemas.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, this was my first Star Wars movie in the cinemas, people. I got into Star Wars just after Revenge of the Sith released in cinemas.
Actually, yeah. Let's talk about how we got into the franchise. Because, like, you go first.
Okay. So, I was going to a bit of context. I've been to every form of educational system they have been on Earth. So, public, private, homed, non. You name it, I have. probably done it in form of education. And when my family actually had a bit of money, I went to a private school. Not like upper launch, but private one to help with education. And on one of these days, they let us watch the movie, and a friend of mine brought in The Phantom Menace on VHS as well. And I fell in love watching The Phantom Menace. Go home, I go to my father and go, I have found this amazing thing, it's called Star Wars, My goes, oh, here, what's the actual Star Wars? And he gave me 3 VHSs, and that's how I got into the original trilogy. It wasn't until afterwards, because my dad didn't like the prequels. He only watched the prequels after all 3 came out, and he went, okay, no, they actually, all 6 movies are all one for him. Huh? And that's how I got into Star Wars. I got the Lego. My first Lego set was the X-Wing with
yeah, I have quite
Yoda's
a few
house.
Things to say about Lego Star Wars.
And that's how I got. Then it was the 2003 Clone Wars. Then it was the OA, and that's how I became a Star Wars fan. Was essentially, I saw the Phantom Menace. My father gave me the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And I can't call myself a Star Wars fan anymore. This is why we're only talking about the animated series today. But that's what made me fall in love with Star Wars, and I still love and am a fan of everything prior to Disney, and that's how I became a Star Wars fan. It was literally right time, right place, and then me and my father actually had something to bond over as I was getting older, because I was about 7, 8 at the time. So, yeah, I came into it later than most, but
no, I mean, Star Wars, bonding family forever.
Yeah, and that's where it all basically began for me. And look, I might not be able to call myself a Star Wars fan at the moment, but it is one of the biggest franchises to impact my inspiration for all my work.
I agree.
Yeah, you, Rixart, how did you get into the amazing world of Star Wars?
Okay, so it was also a family member that got me into it, but before that I'm gonna explain like my light interactions with it. So at this point, I was born in '99, so after that the prequels were coming out. And as the prequels were coming out, a lot more shows were doing allusions and spoofs of Star Wars in general.
Yeah.
So I think I knew more about the, like the comedies. Like in Fairly Odd Parents, there was this Darth Vader spoof in it. So I think that was my first interaction.
Yeah.
With Star Wars in general. I never watched the movies, but it was like one of those things you just like hear about, like, yeah, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, lightsabers, stuff like that. But then 2005, Revenge of the Sith had come out. And my older brother, I don't know if he watched it or not, but he was like talking about it with me. And then he was like, oh yeah, like Star Wars, it's a 6-episode series, they're movies. Which really confused me, like episodes or movies, like what? And he was telling me about how the original trilogy, 4 to 6, were the originals, and 1 to 3 were the prequels. So they were made after, but they take place before the original, and I was like really confused about what he was talking about. But yeah, like he got on the computer, he opened up the movie. not that I condone piracy, but yeah, he put on the movie. He skipped to the end. It's the scene where Anakin and Padme are talking on Mustafa. Then Obi-Wan comes in like, you turned her against me. You did that yourself. And then he played the entire lightsaber battle. So Battle of Heroes was my first like real introduction to the Star Wars franchise.
You lucky bastard. You
Didn't
lucky bastard.
Yeah. I did not understand the context. It was just the coolest lightsaber battle on a lava planet. And like to this day, that scene in general is the scene I can remember with perfect diction. Because me and my brother play acted that scene a lot. He was Anakin, I was Obi-Wan. I had Obi-Wan's lightsaber, he had Anakin's. And the stairs were where we reenacted, you were the chosen one. You were meant to destroy the Sith, not join them. So, you know, good memories. A lot of good memories. Me watching the other films, I'm a little iffy on. But there were 2 separate occasions where I did watch them in succession. My brother, for Eid, 1 year, got the original trilogy. I think it was the special edition VHS. Yep. Or something like that. So, yeah, we watched... So, yeah, he showed me that. We watched it together with my sister, and I think Channel 4 or something. It's like every Saturday they were releasing Star Wars movies. So one Saturday it was Episode 1, and then they continued it until Return of the Jedi. So that was another avenue where I watched the films, but it was mostly YouTube videos and stuff my brother would show me, and then, you know, like you said, Lego Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I got like the Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. Yeah, and my brother would like trade minifigures. So he got Luke Skywalker, he got Han Solo. Some of them like were really old, from like 2000 or something, and we were playing with them in 2009. So when Clone Wars came out, they released their minifigures. So it was like really confusing to me, like comparing like 2 different versions of Anakin. Like, why do they look different? I don't know. But yeah, those were a lot of fun. Star Wars was a lot of... The prequels, whether you love them or hate them, were commercially the best period to be a Star Wars fan.
Yes, and this is something that we'll... I said we want to go into it, but we will reference it. It is something that, unfortunately, the sequels never truly did.
No.
And that is, it got a younger audience into Star Wars. And if you don't believe me, how many kids these days do you see wearing Star Wars shirts?
Not a lot.
Okay.
I mean, look, when you go to Asda or Tesco's, like what fills the shelves?
That would be all Marvel. Is it Marvel currently? No. Oh, it's been a while. You can tell I am now certain these days.
I know. I'm 26 now, so I don't really go to the toy aisles anymore. But that's something to think about. But on the prequels themselves, when the 08 series came out, the landscape for the prequels was not good.
Yeah.
I know these days now, like a lot of people have grown up and look back on them fondly. And, you know, there's a lot to the prequels. Like, we'll get into that in, like, another live stream. But 2008, the prequels were hated. George Lucas was seen as, like, the devil, or the boogeyman of Star Wars. So when the 08 series came out, there was just... I think public consensus was that it wasn't going to be very good.
Yeah. This is the thing with... and I will say this with Star Wars. At least when Jaws had it, it had a unified vision. He knew where he wanted to get it, and this is where I think, unfortunately, modern Star Wars doesn't have. Modern Star Wars doesn't have a unified vision at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, but we won't go on to that. That's another conversation. If I have time before I need to leave I might go over it. But yeah, 3D Clone Wars, the go. And Rixart kind of mentioned it. Yeah, we were at that time where, at least for the older fans, people weren't that keen on it. It became childish. Now, I am one of these people that I don't think a product being aimed for families and kids necessarily makes it bad, especially if the original audience has grown up. Again, I'm a wrestling fan, and I have to argue with people. At the end of the day, modern WWE's main target is families and kids. It's never going back to what it was like in the 90s, where it was teenagers and young adults. But the Clone Wars, it didn't retcon a lot of things, but it made the entire trilogy, at least from 2 to 3, make sense. It basically explained the context going into those films.
It did.
Why still to this day I say Revenge of the Sith is a great film. It's direct, like everyone craps on the was crapping on the actor of Anakin.
Yeah.
I think this is my another channel is still around, but this is one of his old videos, and he was talking. I think it is Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah.
And he points out, if you were to mute all the dialogue scenes of Anakin and just pay attention to his facial expressions, he nails it out of the park. When he finds out that he's going to be a father, Padme's pregnant, when he's struggling in the Jedi Temple if he should stay or go, when he's turning to the dark side and he realized what he's just done.
Yeah, Nostalgia Critic did point out that Hayden Christensen was phenomenal at physically acting.
Yes, it all was the clunky dialogue and the direction of the dialogue.
Like he was perfect as Anakin.
Yes.
Like back then, it was like the coolness factor and all that, but now, true to my word, he was the best casting choice.
Yes, it's
even now, like when he comes back for like future stuff, now he's still like he never left the role.
Yeah, and it's great that he didn't get deterred by the fan, because the fans now our age love him as Anakin. He is Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, because you know, it's like the kids that loved him in 2005 grew up, and we get to show him that it wasn't a mistake.
Oh,
haters gonna hate. And...
yeah, and it's one of the good things from Star Wars, and this is the best thing about the 3D Clone Wars. It actually showed us the character of Anakin. It showed us that he was a charismatic, he was a caring, like he genuinely cared for his men. He cared for Obi-Wan. That's the heart-wrenching thing. Him and Obi-Wan felt like brothers when he was a knight.
Anakin and Obi-Wan's camaraderie and banter was top-notch. Like easily one of the best parts of the show.
Yeah, and
but so before we get into it, like season by season, the landscape of the Star Wars franchise at that time was not very good. Everyone was making fun of it. There was scarcely a little amount of people like saying, "Oh no, the prequels were good." Like even that Nostalgia Critic video that he released in 2014, that was like the bare minimum. And to me, if he was to make that video now, he would have a lot more things to say. But back then, that was like all people could accept.
yeah.
So when the Clone Wars came out, I was not there for any of that. We'll get into that later. But as the show progressed, people began to see the Clone Wars as like the Holy Grail.
Yes, and as someone who was there, it kind of was. So we got the development of Anakin. Actually giving him a Padawan was a good choice by George, because again, how that all played out. So Ahsoka herself, despite where she is now as a character being overused within modern Star Wars, her development, because she, at least, I mentioned this with the 03 that Anakin actually felt like the Padawan of Obi-Wan. Ahsoka generally feels like the Padawan of Anakin. She gets her brashness, she gets her full steam, her determination, and all the things that generally made Ahsoka by season 7, that made Ahsoka the way she is, all comes from Anakin's training.
It does.
Essentially, Ahsoka was more brave than Anakin, and Ahsoka is a great character in terms of development. Very young and naive Padawan.
Remind me to talk about that when we get to her last season.
Yeah, like when it generally got to Ahsoka is the great addition to the Clone Wars, because it kind of shows you what Anakin would be like. It's either a big brother or father, because he genuinely cared for Ahsoka. And I mentioned it before, from season 1 to season 3 or 4, Clone Wars was out of order. Like, the episodes would be at different points of time and was completely out of order.
It was pretty daunting when I was trying to get into it.
Yeah, and it's what makes her development, because you even see it with Anakin. Like, they are key moments in it, and I'm gonna more do brushstrokes with 3D. So it's development of animation. So from season 1 to season 6, and then much later season 7, that animation just got better and better and better and better. So, and as it developed along from its earlier episodes, so the first 2 seasons are a bit rough. You can tell they're made for kids. It's season 3 and season 4 that generally, okay, it's a great show. So, because the development of Echo 5's Heavy, Domino Squad.
Yep.
Great storytelling. Development of Anakin, because some of the best episodes of Anakin, in my personal opinion, is when they return to the second Battle of Geonosis.
Yeah.
When he has to act like a slaver. When Ahsoka goes missing.
Yep.
And when Obi-Wan fakes his death. They are the best episodes of Anakin because they showed you he's human.
Alright, so before I start talking about the show proper, I'm gonna say my history with the show.
Yep.
When it was airing, I didn't really see the point of it at the time. Because, I was like young and I had already watched the films, and then I felt like I didn't really need to watch the show. Because, like, to me, the movies were the main source of, like, those were Star Wars, and anything else was, like, supplementary, and I didn't really feel obligated to watch it. And also, at the time, I had it's ironic, I know, but I had an aversion to 3D animation. Like, I blame Son of the Mask. Like, Son of the Mask had, like, really freaky, you know?
Yep, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just heard something closing. But anyway, yeah, so Son of Mask kind of ruined 3D for me. Like, the main character in that was, like, a 3D animator, and I saw, oh, that 3D looks very complicated. And then, the VFX in there scared the life out of me. And from then on, I just didn't really like her 3D. From that point, it just never looked natural to me. And that goes for, like, video games as well. So, So when Clone Wars was airing, I was like, why do the characters look like that? They don't look good. They look ugly. So that turned me off. It wasn't until like there was one conversation I had with my neighbor. He said, "Oh no, Clone Wars is like a really good show. You should watch it." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, fine." And then it got cancelled, and then fine, too late.
Yeah.
And then it's like then I met you.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like university or something. We were like out on one of our park trail walks or something.
Yep.
And it was 2020, and I watched a show called Death Battle. And the most recent episode that week was Obi-Wan versus Kakashi. So and at that point I was slowly getting into Star Wars again. Like at that point I wasn't like watching the new shows or like to me it was just the movies and nothing else. I didn't care for anything else. But that episode like reinvigorated like my curiosity to find out more, because that episode mentioned a lot of things that I kind of just didn't know or I was interested in. So yeah, we're in the park, you and I are talking, and then I asked you about Clone Wars. And then you just gushed about it.
Yeah, I will always gush about Clone Wars. It is what I grew up with. I was there for the first. I was able, because of my own history, what I don't really like to talk about on streams. I watched the first 3 to 4 seasons live as they were airing.
Yeah.
I think it's the first 3. It's 09. Yeah, it must have been the first 3. I'm just trying to get my timeline correct here. And it's the thing that kept me as a Star Wars fan. It's the number one thing that I will always say. The Clone Wars kept me as a Star Wars fan going into my teenage years, and I am grateful for it. And like I said, I think it shows that Anakin and Obi-Wan were brothers. It shows the faults of the Jedi Order. There are things I don't like about it, and I think this will be the best way to wrap up the Clone Wars without and just going over briefings. It's been such a long time. I remember more of 03 these days than the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I was with the show. From that point on, season 7 was also coming out, so that also had something to do with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched a bunch of episodes of Clone Wars. You showed me like the list of the proper watch order.
Yeah.
Now, and I admit to this day, I have not seen every episode. There are some big episodes that I only have like a cursory knowledge of, or I just watched the clips of. But I will say that Clone Wars was a good show, and it came out at a good time when Star Wars needed it.
Yeah. And
I will concede to that.
It's generally season 3 to season 5 is its peak. We got Maul's return. We had the more development of Anakin and Padme. They are again, and it shows. My favorite bit is where Anakin gets jealous of an ex-boyfriend of Padme's.
Rush Clovis.
Yeah, but to be fair, he was kind of justified. The guy was a snake.
Well, was kind of a creep.
Yeah.
But I was actually watching Clone Wars with you like a few years ago, and he did make a good mention of Rush is exactly like Anakin in how he sees Padme. Because like in his first couple of episodes, he's not really portrayed as villainous. So when he and Anakin like come to blows and stuff, and when Anakin like loses his temper, Rush lies to. And he sweeps the situation under the rug. And, like, he didn't have to do that. Like, he could have just told Padme and everyone else what Anakin had done. But, he didn't. I felt like we needed more of that from the character than him. Because, we still have to root for Anakin, so they made him more of a
villain later on.
Yeah. You know, it's like, I wonder what Anakin's gonna do. He really what?
He was the jealous type, Anakin. But then again, Padme was a groomer.
Okay.
Padme was a
Okay, just to go into another tangent, I never quite liked Anakin and Padme's relationship.
Yeah.
But you know, the credit to Clone Wars, it kind of shows why it's unhealthy, but I don't think it goes far enough with it.
Yeah, this. Well, because yeah, I'll get into that a bit more when we finish the Clone Wars. So if anyone's interested, yes, watch 3D Clone Wars. There's a chronological order list. I still think it's on the Star Wars website. What's it? Episodes from season 1 and 2, they're rough. They are very childish. Season 3 onwards, great. Highlights of the show is the second Battle of Geonosis, the attack on Kamino, all Domino Squad episodes. I'm trying to remember the arc's name. It's where Anakin leaves and
Umbara.
Umbara. That is the biggest foreshadowing.
That one.
Yeah.
That one I watched very recently, like 2 months ago, based on like a conversation I was having with another friend.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would admit that's a very good arc.
It's a great arc, and I will always recommend that. As the show gets along, it gets darker and heavier. You get Maul's introduction. Anything Mandalorian was great.
Yeah. The Clone Wars like really pushed Mandalorian to be like one of those things everyone just knows about.
Yes.
Like modern space, like everyone knows it, but back then that was like the first real sense of world building we were getting.
Yes, outside of the video games and expanded lore.
Yeah, because Dave Filoni like really loves Mandalorians.
He loves the Mandalorians. He loves the Republic Commandos. What is a crime? We are never going to get anything proper with them. There's a hot take from me. I don't think we're going to get anything proper with Republic Commandos. Now, Dave Filoni just has his problems, but I also do blame that on the higher-ups of Disney.
I think okay, so I'm just gonna get into it now. Well, I will say that Clone Wars, again, came out at a good time and did do a lot of good for Star Wars. I do think it's a bit overhyped.
Yes.
I noticed the flaws now because Dave Filoni now, I feel, kind of lost his way with his newer projects, and that kind of makes me look at Clone Wars in a different light.
Good on him. The Clone Wars also was still being run by George Lucas. There is only one season of that wasn't. I think Dave's best Disney work has been Rebels, and I think that's a good thing. And we'll move away from Clone Wars. Like I said, it's goated.
It is.
It has you need to set your expectations. Early seasons are very childish. Gets much more dark because it goes along, and it has one. And then you get the final season of where you can tell Disney at least put some mandates on.
Yeah, okay. I will say, collectively, it's a very great show.
Yeah.
It's just like those little things that kind of keeps me from getting like really into it. Like how some of the villains.
Yeah.
I feel like in the entire 7 seasons, it was a crime to not develop Dooku as much.
Yes.
Like you know me, I'm a Dooku fanboy. He's my favorite villain in the whole thing, and I feel really disappointed that nothing was done with him.
Yes, and if anyone were used to arcs, I am pro-Separatist, down with the Republic. I will follow Dooku into battle.
The show, like in the beginning opening crawl of Revenge of the Sith, it says heroes on both sides, stuff like that. But the Separatists aren't really portrayed as heroic in the... There's only like one arc that focuses on that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a human woman, not like an alien creature. So, you know, it's like... I feel like some things get lost.
Yes.
And I could be here all day trying to nitpick everything, but like Blue said, it's a goated show. It did do a lot of good. A lot of people had fun with it. I also have fun with it, despite me being late to the game. And also, Darth Maul's return made no sense, but he was the best part of the show.
Yes. I will say, still made no sense, but I completely understand why they wanted to bring him back.
They were really pushing it. They like, Maul is the biggest defender of lightsaber wounds not mattering. An entire piece of him, like his lower half of the body, was gone, but no, the dark side of the Force protected. Yeah, BS. But he's here, and I enjoy him.
Yeah, and
like you know, like in Phantom Menace, he didn't talk. Like, he only talked in one scene, but I always thought he was silent. And you know, in Phantom Menace as a kid, I thought, yeah, okay, that's fine enough. He's just the action guy. And then when Clone Wars was coming out, I'm like, wait, Darth Maul comes back? And he talks?
Yeah.
Now you've lost me. You know, but you know,
and then the character's like, hold that for a second. I'm gonna show you why I'm the GOAT and why George Lucas regretted killing me off.
Yeah, I know. It's like if they put half of much attention as they did more to the other villains,
would
Clone
be
Wars
on
would be a
par
much
with
better
03.
show.
If they did, it would be on par with 03. 03 beats Clone Wars in terms of its villains and actually making the Separatists a threat.
Yeah.
But Clone Wars, at least for the main cast, so the Jedi and the Republic and the clones,
it had more time to develop them as characters than 03.
Yeah. And this then leads us into
Rebels.
What?
Okay, so do you want to get into like the landscape of what happened after Clone Wars ended and the Disney transition?
I'll let you do that because I've got a bit to get off on Rebels before I go in, because I've got a complicated history with Rebels.
Okay, so Clone Wars got cancelled because of the Disney acquisition, right?
Yep. Disney fucking over everything again. Sorry for my language, people. I am not a big fan of Disney.
So yeah, Clone Wars ended prematurely. From what I understood, it had time to like make an ending, but not the ending that it wanted.
Yes.
Alright, so yeah, that happened. That was up in the air. I wasn't there for that. In 2014, I think. 2014. Star Wars Rebels had come out.
No, I think it's 2015. Yeah, 2014. Sorry, yeah, because it was 2012.
Like 2014, 2015. It was like around Force Awakens, I think.
Yes.
But yeah, the Rebels had come out, and just saying it from off the bat, it had a slightly different audience in mind. Like, it was very kiddie, I would say, throughout the show, but in season 1 especially, it was very much a children's show.
It had the Clone Wars effect. Now, as it was airing, I was having problems with Rebels. Okay, so off the bat, I think Rebels is a good show. I think it's worth a watch. It's a shame that the Ahsoka live action kind of ruins the ending for me, but I am genuinely hoping if they do decide to retcon everything post episode 6, I will be happy. That's where I am as a Star Wars fan, by the way. It's why I can't call myself a Star Wars fan if I'm praying for the last 14 years to be retconned. The near last 14 years to be retconned. But as the show started to develop and its characters grow, it's by its last couple seasons, especially when Thrawn's introduced, who is, out of all of Star Wars, my favourite villain. He's my favourite villain of the entire series, is Thrawn. It's more because it's what the Empire kind of should have been. the tactical mind, the genius of military strategy, the complete understanding of your situation. And again, if Thrawn was leading the Imperial Navy, I don't think the Rebels would have won. I don't think there would be a Death Star.
Yeah. Thrawn is a complicated character to get into. Like, he was a Legends character and was a major villain in the like post Empire stuff.
Yes.
And then they brought him into the Disney canon.
And his one weakness is plot armor. His one weakness, like, he can basically wipe out when he needs to, unless you have plot armor. If you have plot armor, boom, Thrawn does not know what to do.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk more about Thrawn when we get to the live action stuff.
Well, it'll be next time, because I know...
Yeah, next time. But yeah, Rebels, when it was coming out, I tried to get into it, because, you know, like, it was a new Star Wars project that I felt... At that point, I felt kind of bad for not watching Clone Wars, so delved into Rebels. I couldn't really keep up with it week to week.
Yeah.
I think I normally, like, returned, like, to catch, like, the big stuff for the first 2 seasons. But after that, I just kind of lost my way with it.
Yeah, I think season 1 is the roughest of Rebels, and I will give Rebels its credit. Its main cast develops extremely well.
I would say that. Like, I was following, like, I knew a lot of the actors that you know, like, voiced the characters. Like, Freddie Prinze Jr. as Kanan, to me, is one of my favorite performances from the show. And
Kanan is, in my opinion, what the Jedi should is the closest thing we're gonna get to what Luke kind of should have been. Especially when Kanan actually accepts he's a Jedi again.
Yeah.
Kanan, annoyingly, it being a kid's show, it had the one problem of, oh, we can't have these two characters being in a quote-unquote relationship from on screen, and it's like, they're clearly together, just don't be... What's the word I'm looking for? The limitations of kids' cartoons, especially from Disney, despite the things that Disney do put in their kids' cartoons, is astounding. Because at the end of the day...
Well, what's your point? I kind of got lost.
A little. I'm trying to remember her name.
Her?
Yeah. Because you can clearly tell her and Kanan are in a relationship from episode 1. You can clearly tell there's more than just captain and subordinate. But it's not until near the very end of the season that it's kind of like, yes, no, they are to get more explicitly, yes, they are together. It's more the typical kids thing of hiding it in the background kind of thing. Only adults are going to pick up on the subtext.
Yeah, Disney's pretty weird, at least when it comes to the shows.
Yes.
Like, if you're not, like, Disney Channel or anything, then,
And it's always been there. But yeah, Rebels did the thing where season 1 was quite worth. Season 2 actually made a statement.
It was, but season 2 was also when I think they were allowed to bring the Clone Wars character in.
Yes, because Ahsoka came in at the end of season 1.
Yeah, and Captain Rex, he came.
Who became a main cast.
Yeah, Maul came at the end. Darth Vader was Darth Vader is also plot armor. Like when he faces like the Ghost Crew and stuff, now it's like plot armor.
Well, here's the thing, and this is the biggest criticism I'll have at Rebel: bringing back Ahsoka.
We'll get to that.
Because at the end of the day, Darth Vader is Anakin, and there were only a few people who could have prevented Anakin's return, and they weren't with him at the time. That was Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. After his turn, there was only ever going to be one person to bring him back and see he was dead until he found out he had a son.
Yep.
So this is what makes
Luke's decision in Return of the Jedi impactful.
Yeah. And it's one of the things why I don't think Disney Star Wars generally works. And then when we get to Season 3 and Season 4, Rebels were introduced to Thrawn, and it's more, and it actually explains why people desert from
Yeah, I think Season 3 and 4, despite me not getting that much into it, was when Rebels began to stand on its own 2 feet.
Yes. It's
like Season 1 was setting it up, Season 2 was like a Clone Wars nostalgia trip, but 3 and 4 we've known enough about the characters and they just got into it.
Yeah. It's and this is what makes Rebels it's one of the, it's like Clone Wars. It takes it has time to do certain things, and when it actually gets good, it gets really good. But it's got more of the pitfalls of Clone Wars, and that is being its Season 1 is too childish.
Yeah, we will make fun of Stormtroopers, but they were really at their worst this in the first season. And also the Inquisitors.
Yes, the Inquisitors are better in the Jedi games than they are.
Alright, so the Rebels was like the first introduction of the Inquisitors and stuff. At the time of I was watching, I didn't really understand the nuances of the Jedi and Sith and what makes a Jedi and what makes a Sith. So when I see red lightsabers, it was like, oh, Sith? How come they're not in the original show? How come Palpatine isn't arming a bunch of Force sensors with red lightsabers? And also helicopters? Helicopter blades? Really? Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I like the idea of the Inquisitors. Like these pack of Jedi hunters that Vader leads to hunt down remaining Jedi and kill them off. To me, one of the good shows. But Rebels, to me, just doesn't delve into that, which is why we get to see so many Inquisitors now in 2026.
Yeah.
Even though we know they're really pathetic.
This is the problem with Disney Star Wars. It had so much limitations early on, so it was scared of the prequels and when they basically went, oh, people actually like the prequels. Maybe we should actually keep the prequels alive.
Yeah.
Did they bring the prequels? And that is clear in Rebels. We didn't get anything prequels until Season 2.
Yeah.
And the main reason for that being Disney had to change up that, okay, yeah, people like the prequels, we'll keep the prequel stuff in. This will probably be next time, because I will have to go in the next 12 or so minutes.
Yeah.
But Rebels is that early stage where Disney still had good faith. It did good things. I have my criticisms of Rebels because personally, if I was in the writers' room of Rebels, Rebels should be a completely different show.
Yeah. Let me guess, you're going to be focusing on the original trilogy?
No, this is that would be one part, but one thing that I think Rebel, I like the characters in Rebels, but personally, if I was to do Rebels, it would be it would be something that Clone Wars did and didn't do at the same time, and that, well, no, they did it more often, and that is different characters constantly. You're following different Rebel cells, and it's not just from episode 3 to episode 4, it'd be from episode 3 to the end of the war. It would have covered the entire Galactic Civil War, and it's following the Rebel Alliance and different characters in the Rebel Alliance. I would have kept the Ghosts and all their crew. I would have had Bail Organa. I would have had more dedicated Leia episodes. I would have Luke, Han, and Leia. I would have Mon Mothma. I would have different rebel groups. I would have Rex being part of the rebels. I would have all these things that are just showing you what's actually going on in this period of the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing that I think.
Yeah, before you go, you want to get into Ahsoka now, or do you want to save that?
That's live action. I think the only two animated properties I'd like to discuss before I have to head off, and I do apologize, folks. Like I said, it's my one day off before going back to work.
Yeah, so...
And,
yeah.
I will wrap this up. Bad Batch. I watched the first 2 seasons of Bad Batch. I can't remember if it was the first 2 seasons or the first season of Bad Batch. Enjoyed the show. No, it's got its criticisms. It's something I don't generally would talk much here. And then the last one being More, what I have only watched clips of because I'm not giving any money to Disney and their streaming service.
Okay, so More is something that I've watched. I watched the whole show, and just to make a long review and analysis short, I liked it. I found it unnecessary.
Yes.
And I honestly I do like the character of Maul. I liked him in Clone Wars. I liked what they did with him in Rebels. But his story is over. It's done, and this show kind of really stretches credulity, and I don't really feel like I need to watch.
I know what you mean.
He's done. Like, nothing new is gonna be done with him because, you know Maul's character.
We know where he ends. We know where
he's syphilis, so like he's trying to move the boulder up the hill, and we know that boulder is gonna crush him in the end.
Yep.
So it's like nothing new can be done there.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like it should have been a Dooku show.
I agree. This is where I do generally think Disney has missed the ball, and this is where we're gonna wrap it up. And it is Disney has mismanaged Star Wars to the point that it is a dead franchise.
Yeah, we'll get more into that next time.
We'll probably do that on the Sunday stream when I have my next day off. But essentially, Disney bought Star Wars in 2012.
Yeah.
I was skeptical of it. Found out Disney was running Marvel. Wasn't so skeptical. Cool as much. Hindsight is 2020. Then you get The Force Awakens. What at the time I enjoyed. It isn't until but The Force Awakens kind of shows all the problems of Disney Star Wars moving forward. For number one, they still had the policy of anti-prequels. Number two, they couldn't really move the story forward. They could only reset the story, and this is why I don't like any of the sequel movies. The sequel movies, in my opinion, I cannot watch again.
It does feel, even now, that the franchise hasn't really grown up.
Yeah, and there are periodic times where Star Wars was doing okay during this period. So you had Rebels. Despite its rough start, it got a loyal fan base. The Last Jedi kind of ruined it. My daddy cannot watch anything post episode 6.
When we talk about the movie, it's not going to be next time, but like eventually.
Yeah.
Last Jedi was kind of like, it split the fandom apart and it never recovered.
Yeah, and seeing that we're winding down, I'll take off the screen of our work. We're just gonna talk before we go. Just final words. Disney, once they had something, they would milk it until it was dry. So, once they failed with the movies, Last Jedi being, and when I mean failed, I don't mean financially. They still made their money back. I think I can't remember if Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion or not. I'm gonna double check that real quickly. I don't want to look like a complete idiot. Because knowing me, it probably did. That did make it. Yeah. What? It isn't like now where Star Wars is completely dead that they can't make their money back. But essentially, the sequels put a sour taste, and then luck strike again. We got the Mandalorian season 1 and season 2. What are really good. Yeah. Yes. If it and for me, I was at university. I was watching that with my girlfriend, and I nerded out seeing Luke. Yes, yes, and Disney had literally a goal. They had something, uh, going for them. And what does Disney do? They gave us Book of Boba Fett. Now, all that Book of Boba Fett needed to be is about Boba Fett. But they made it Mandalorian season 2.5, and they made the biggest mistake they have ever made. Keeping Grogu with Mando. That is, but that's a next time. That is Disney Star Wars in a nutshell. When they find something that's printing money, they will milk it until it's dry. The franchise be damned. And then Rick Salt's mentioned it. They have made things that have been pointless. So more we didn't really need. Kenobi is blasphemy. I am a religious person. And I can. I am a Christian, and Obi-Wan Kenobi is like pure blasphemy for me. Yeah, for me, it did the cardinal sin of taking Obi-Wan off Tatooine. I am. I basically said, so long as Obi-Wan doesn't go off Tatooine, I will be happy. But it will never do it. And to wrap this stream off, if Disney really wanted to bring Star Wars back, give us a Luke Skywalker show. Give us either live action or animated series of Luke, Han, and Leia during episode 4, 5, and 6. Like, that's all I want. Yeah. But that will be all for today, folks. I do apologize that I have to go abruptly. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I am on the second half of scene 4. What I might need to do off screen because it's a montage. And I want to actually block some of that out. Yeah. I yeah. I will help you out with that. Me and Rixart, I hope you've enjoyed our stream. And yeah, thank you for joining us. I know we kind of geeked out there talking about Star Wars. You can clearly tell O3 Clone Wars is deep in our minds as we animate. Yeah. You have to remember, Rixart is the baby. He's the baby of my group of friends. I'm the old man. I am the old man of this group. I am. Yeah. And for people that know their history, because we're both from the United Kingdom, I was born in the Empire. I won't give a year what I was born in. I'll just say this: the Empire didn't officially end until November '97, and I was born in the Empire. So that's how. Yes, I never do. That's how old I am. I've only got three other friends who are in that period. So again, hope you enjoyed. We will be live again Sunday, hopefully. And yeah, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.